All right, folks, welcome into another edition of Bears Predictions. All right, before we get on to this week's game, I want to do a little recap of last week. I had my brother Bill on, and we were going to the game in Houston, and things didn't go exactly as planned. Both Bill and my prediction was a little bit off, and I also want to explain why Bill regrettably will not be joining us today. All right. Well, during the game, I predicted that Caleb Williams would throw for about four touchdowns and the defense would score three or four. That was a little bit off, notably. And it was a tough time. I just think that Caleb Williams is going through what could be called growing pains. And when you have these growing pains, yeah, it's a little difficult. But I think the future is bright. Your fans, the Bears fans, as myself, have to remember it's only week two, and the Bears will still go on to win a Super Bowl. Now with Bill had a rough time at the game because he wanted his team to win, of course, and near the end of the game, he was having some problems with the Houston Texans fans. And what really set him over the edge was that one of the fans said you might be better off if you were a Packers fan. Well, Bill did not take very well to this, and Bill got a little frustrated. And Bill got into a little bit of a scuffle with the fan. And, now Bill is actually in the city jail for a little bit until he can get bailed out by his wife, Patricia. Patricia doesn't like to leave her house in Berwyn, and she has to go all the way down to the state of Texas, specifically Houston, of course, and get Bill. So we hope Bill can get out of there soon and can, watch the Bears game this Sunday. One other thing is Bill told me that they keep telling him they're going to give him an Italian beef at the jail, but they just keep giving him something with chicken. And, this is a very cruel trick. And I'd like to note as well that Bill and I were looking for an Italian beef spot before the game. In the whole state of Houston, well, the city, but probably the whole state of Texas as well, there is not an Italian beef to be found. What kind of place doesn't have an Italian beef sandwich? All right. Well, let's go on to the game, week three. So the Bears are taking on a lesser team by the name of the Indianapolis Colts. And we will not talk about what happened, back in 2006 with the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts ruined my hopes and dreams. And it was a very rough year for all involved. And the guy that will remain nameless, but that you can sometimes see on ESPN on Monday nights, especially ruined my hope and dreams, for the Bears. But anyway, let's go on to the game because this is a very different team. Now, this Bears team is destined to win 4 or 5 Super Bowls in the next 10 years, led by the soon to be great Caleb Williams. All right. And so, specifically this Sunday, I think that the Indianapolis Colts are going to have a lot of problems against the Bears defense. There's a guy by the name of Jonathan Taylor that runs the ball. That sounds like a guy from that show in the 90s with the Tool Man. It's one of the kids from that show, I think. And this is not an NFL running back, and we do not have to fear this man. And I think that the Bears will have him running for about negative 45 yards. Also, there's a guy by the name of Michael Pittman that is a wide receiver, as he says, but this sounds like a guy that fixes your car in the auto body shop. This guy's not going to do anything against the mighty Bears defense. And no, you cannot fix my car, Michael. All right. So I think my prediction is the Bears are going to score 4 or 5 defensive touchdowns. And maybe Caleb Williams will run through in. The mighty DeAndre Swift will awaken and he will run for 2 or 3 touchdowns, maybe catch a pass for a touchdown. So I'm predicting that the final score is, it's going to be a high score for this game. I think it's going to be about 94, and maybe the Colts will get a touchdown on a blown play or something like that. So let's say 94-10. All right, that's my final prediction for the game. Enjoy the game, folks, and the Bears will begin their push towards the Super Bowl. At about 2 hours. All right. Well, as they say, cheers, or as they say here in Mexico, salud.